because we're all video, we think inviting friends into the equation of dating is actually going to help people make a better assessment of potential matches.
Yeah, it sort of gives you that social proof.
Yeah, and I think a really important part that we've been missing, because current dating apps provide a really low resolution view of who someone is. Again, photos and text only goes so far. Disconnected, like audio voice notes, don't really give you the whole person. And so for me, there's that low resolution view piece, right? And then on the other side is the sense of trust and security and safety that can come with having friends be in the equation and pitching you.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Come On Man. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. If you are watching on YouTube, drop a comment below. Any comment will do. Your favorite emoji, all that kind of stuff helps us out in the algorithm. If you are watching during the premiere on Monday mornings, then, sound off in the live chat. I'm usually in there, while I'm editing videos and stuff like that. So say hi. And if you guys are listening on your favorite audio platform of choice, please give us a 5-star review. It helps out more than you know. And if you give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, I will read your review on an upcoming episode. So if you want to get a free shout out, that's a good way to do it. Follow me on social media. I'm on all the good ones. The links are all down in the description. Support the show by joining the Patreon, patreon.com/comeonmanpod. You can join for as little as $10. You get added to the beer credits at the end of these episodes on Monday morning. And then if you want some kind of date coaching, right? If you've just been struggling with dating apps, you're just, having a hard time out there approaching women in general, maybe you want to approach women organically because dating apps hasn't worked for you, and get on the Patreon, man. You can join at tier 2 or tier 3, depending on, your needs. Tier 3 is the most popular option because you get all the benefits of tiers 1 and 2, plus you get a video or a voice call with me once a month, just so that we can follow up on your goals and really make sure that you're getting where you want to be. So check that out. Patreon.com/comeonmanpod. Be sure to get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. You can sign up for that and then get some free stickers. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see what the stickers look like here. I'm just getting people to sign up for the email list. I'm not spamming people, but I really just want to get everyone's contact information in case I ever get deplatformed from a social media site, which has happened a few times now. I'm on my 3rd TikTok account. So get on the list.comeonmanpod.com. That way I can contact you if anything like that happens. And then, if you're watching on YouTube, you like these designs, they're all available on merch. So you can get a t-shirt, you can get a coffee mug, that sort of thing. You can get that with these designs on it at merch.comeonmanpod.com. That's merch.comeonmanpod.com. Get a coffee mug or something. The link for that is in the description as well. And then finally, check out my practical law of attraction course, loa.comeonmanpod.com. A lot of guys don't realize that what we think about, we tend to bring about, right? Our reality is largely created by our mindset, by what we think about. And what we focus on the most in life, we tend to sort of attract. We sort of get what we focus on in life, right? So there's a lot of guys out there that are like, oh, all these women out here suck. There's no good women out there. Well, if your mindset says that, that's going to be true for you. That's going to be a reality because you're so focused on the bad women out there. That's all you're ever going to see. It's called your reticular activating system. So how do you fix that? You change your mindset. Okay. What you start doing is you start focusing on the types of women you actually want in your life, the types of women you want to attract in life. You focus on that so hard, you engage that reticular activating system. And what you'll find is you'll start seeing all these women out here that check all your boxes. And it's not that the women weren't there before. It's that you just weren't aware of them before. So this course will show you how to become hyper aware of the types of women you want to find in your life. So if that's been your struggle, check out the course today. Okay. The law of attraction is nothing without action. Check that out. All right. That brings me to our guest today, because he says he has the solution to your dating app problems. He's the inventor, or the CEO rather, of a brand new dating app that just came out back here on Valentine's Day, actually. So we recorded this ahead of Valentine's Day, but it's dropping after Valentine's Day. So the app is already out. You can check it out. It's called the Heartstring app. Now, what makes this app so different from any other dating app you've ever found is it's all video based. There's no pictures, right? So one of the best things about video that, I've been preaching for years now on the podcast is that you're able to show all of your faculties. You're able to show your sense of humor, your facial expressions and stuff like that, right? That's something that you can't get across on a dating app where it's just pictures and text. Okay. So I've always told people, well, get them off the dating app and then, send them video messages, send them voice messages. Well, this whole app, your whole entire profile is video. It's like, think TikTok, but for dating. Okay. That also means that the women's profiles are all video too, which means they can't, catfish you, they can't hide behind, stupid Snapchat filters. Like, it's a video. Now they could do, there are some like TikTok filters that sort of smooth things out, so there is that. It's probably not foolproof, but it's better than you'll find on other apps like, Tinder and Hinge and stuff like that. So my guest, his name is Lee Michael Pronko, or he goes by LMP. This is a fascinating conversation. This dating app, I guarantee you're going to want to try out, and I will let him explain it all right after these words. Do you want a positively unfair advantage in life? Most people tiptoe through life hoping they'll make it safely to death. They let life happen to them. Up until now, I'm assuming that's been your situation. Am I right about that? But you know deep down that you're destined for more. You know that you deserve more money or better relationships. Yet you're stuck doing the same thing over and over again, getting the same results. That ends today, because you're going to check out my Practical Law of Attraction course. My Practical Law of Attraction course will give you the tools necessary to write your own story. You will be in the driver's seat of your life, not just the passenger. Your life is already getting better because you're listening to this message right now. Access this course at loa.comeonmanpod.com. That's loa.comeonmanpod.com. When you're done with this course, the results that you see for yourself will be better. Others will see how your life is changing for the better. And you'll know that everything in this course is true because your life will be better. But the choice is up to you. You have to decide if you want to stay where you are or achieve goals so big that it will blow your mind. The law of attraction is nothing without action. So what are you waiting for? Act now. All right, joining me this week is the CEO of what could possibly be a revolutionary new dating app called Heartstring. That is a first of its kind video only dating app. My guest is Lee Michael Pronkos. Did I pronounce that right?
Nailed it.
Okay, cool. Or you go by LMP?
Yeah, LMP is good too. We'll go with that.
So LMP, thank you. What's going on, man? Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Really appreciate it. Just up here in Canada, freezing right now. Getting colder and colder. So
what part of Canada?
I'm in Ottawa, Canada, so capital.
Ottawa. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Just kind of a couple hours from Toronto and a couple hours from Montreal.
Got it. All right. The only time I've ever spent up in Canada was in Vancouver.
Yeah, that's on the West Coast. That's a beautiful place. I mean, yeah, everywhere is a beautiful place. You just got to see it for what it is. But yeah, that's a great spot. You're like in between Toronto and Vancouver. You're in Colorado, right?
I am in Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's basically time zone wise. That's in between.
Seems like it. You're close to the West Coast, but yeah, definitely.
Okay. Got it. All right. So by the time this episode airs, the app, the Heartstring app has already been launched. All right. There's a space-time continuum. I was telling you about that before we started recording.
Yeah.
So because it was scheduled to launch on Valentine's Day, wait, it is scheduled to launch on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. A little on the nose, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything is always down to the wire with software, and I mean, some things may or may not be where I want them to be, and they'll have a staggered rollout after Valentine's Day. But the core feature, and probably one of the things we'll get into a lot today, is our Pitch Your Friend feature, and so that's what's definitely going to be launching on Valentine's Day.
Let's talk a little bit about that because I saw it on your website. It says Pitch Your Friend. What does that mean?
Yeah, it means that we're focused on bringing back social bonds in the equation of assessing matches in dating. So what that means is we think having friends endorse friends in a short video clip and that video going in their dating profile is a much better way to assess someone's vibes holistically than simply just a series of photos or text prompts, right? And because we're all video, we think inviting friends into the equation of dating is actually going to help people make a better assessment of potential matches.
Yeah, it sort of gives you that social proof.
Yeah, and I think a really important part that we've been missing, because current dating apps provide a really low resolution view of who someone is. Again, photos and text only go so far. Disconnected like audio voice notes don't really give you the whole person. And so for me, there's that low resolution view piece, right? And then on the other side is the sense of trust and security and safety that can come with having friends be in the equation and pitching you. Not saying everybody's going to, jump out the gate and pitch their friend, but what I am saying is that I think when you have a video profile, let's say 6 short videos, just like TikTok or Instagram, right? Short little clips, 30 seconds max, showcasing who you are, and you have something that shows 1 or 2 friends or even who knows, a family member vetting you and endorsing you. I think that's really cool because you could get some comedic pitches, you could get some really serious ones, and I've seen it firsthand, right? The idea was born from me interviewing people on the street and asking them to say, why should I date your friend? Pitch them in 30 seconds or less, right? And and that's where it was born. And I said, why aren't we bringing this into dating? So we're launching this, and it's the way that we think that's going to help people make better assessments of people's vibes.
The only thing I could think of where this could possibly go wrong is if some guy thought it would be a great idea to get his mom to endorse him.
I would just laugh so hard, man. I was thinking that I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll do it as a comedic one. Get my mom to endorse me, on my dating app. So I think like we can use those things as comedic ways, and if that's the way someone wants to approach their dating profile, because people do it now, right? They put tons of memes, or and I think that's great. Those are all different ways to connect with people. Again, depends on what you're after, but it's like I could see someone getting their mom to pitch them in a funny way, and maybe it works, man. Who knows,
That would be so funny if
I mean, you got to do it in a funny way. You got to be confident doing it for sure. But some of the trends that were out there, right, where you see people putting especially men were putting posts of their with their grandma. That was in dating apps for a while. It was a bunch of posts with grandma. Yeah, it was hilarious. I was like, that's funny because they're trying to exemplify that they were more holistic, more family oriented, And then on the flip side, you would see a lot of females putting photos with babies, but it wasn't their babies. It was auntie is here, And so it's really interesting to see those different trends that people do. So I'm like, okay, let's see what people are going to do in video,
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. Grandma's just not sexy, but you know what does sound good is the idea of getting your friends or even gal pals to endorse you. It's like Amazon, where they're leaving a 5-star review on your product, right?
Yeah, except the thing is you're definitely sheltering yourself from spam bots, because there's no one else that can leave comments or anything on your profile at this time. That's something reviews are not, that's let's stay away from that. But yeah, definitely getting, I have two of my friends right now in my profile testing it out. And I was like, man, it's great because other females seeing that be like, okay, he has female friends. this his female friend is attractive. Like there's all these levels to this, right? And
Yeah.
I think that that's a cool element.
Yeah, there's a psychological element of pre-selection with that too. Like if a woman thinks that you're cool, like other women are like, oh, okay, yeah, he's all right. It's
Yeah.
there's science that backs that up. Where did you get the idea for this app?
Yeah, so going back, I mean, look, I'm a single dad and I've been single parenting for 3 years now. And to be honest, a lot of time and energy was previously wasted on existing apps, swiping. And I said to myself, 90%, and it's a fact, 90% of internet content is consumed via video, TikTok, Instagram, right? And I'm like, if I could just see someone on a short clip, not a video call, because like everyone's like, let's do, a lot of people like, let's do a video call. That's fine, but that's also even for me kind of
It's
awkward.
intrusive. I'm not a fan of that. Yeah.
You're like, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do like funny shit while I'm on the call. So I just like walk around, make a coffee. I don't just sit there like, hey, like that's not how it works. And so I find just asynchronous clips, right? Short clips are the best way. And so I said to myself, if I just saw someone speak for a little bit, their body language, whatever it is, I would definitely be more attracted. And my thesis was that there's probably a whole host of people that are swiping off people right now, and they would actually match with them and they would actually find them attractive because whether their photos are shit, whether they can't write anything that's witty, because everybody's like, oh, you need a witty prompt at the top so that you can get a match. And so I was just like, listen, I'm going to start talking to daters. So I built basically a spreadsheet and I just sent out a Calendly link and I said, hey, listen, I'd love to talk to you about dating experiences. And everybody loves to talk about it. They either want to share their story and be like, I had the worst experience. Honestly, 99% of people are like, I hate online dating.
Yeah, most people are really frustrated with dating.
Yeah, they hate it. And then I just started stacking up the exact same thing over and over, which is like, I'm not really getting a good sense of someone's vibe. I'm tired because there's so many matches or so many, like I spoke with a woman the other day. She had 9,500 likes on Bumble. I was like, how the fuck do you even begin to do anything?
That's the thing that guys don't understand about most dating apps is their experience is not the same as women's experience. Like men are trying to get matches. Women are trying to filter out matches.
In this book, which is a great book on data in terms of relationships and matching, there's one line which he says the majority of people are competing for like the 1% of the attractive people on those apps. So it's like you can imagine, such as the woman I was speaking with, who was again very attractive, and that's exactly her experience. And again, most women that I speak with, exactly the same experience. Whereas the men are all like, maybe I have, again, who knows? Everybody's different. Some people may have one match. They may not have any. They may have 20. It varies, but it's typically between about 1 and 20 is what I see. And then when we talk, the average will be a little bit more like 3 for most people. 20 will be about the max for men. And it's like, that's where they're at. And they're like, I can't even get anyone's attention. And the truth is they're already at a disadvantage from the algorithm. They're at a disadvantage from probably lacking perhaps confidence or knowing how to speak with someone. They're at a disadvantage because by the time they even get to it, you literally have like half a second to do something unique that's going to really set you apart. And so that's why I'm like, video. Anytime that I have ever matched with someone, if I'm capable of sending a video or I've moved it to a phone call, I would immediately send a video because it's going to immediately make you stand out. And every time it's worked because they've been like, oh, thank you for sending that. I can see who you are. I get a sense of your vibe. Let's go. So taking all that into consideration over the past year, I basically was like, fuck it. Everyone thought I was joking, but I'm making a better dating app and I'm going to change this culture because whatever we're doing, it's not working. So
yeah. There's some points here that I want to get to, and they're based on features of your app. But But going to what you were saying about sending video messages, that's one of the things that like really popped in my head because that's something that I teach guys to do. That's something I introduced you to my friend Benny. Yeah. Benny's the one that actually taught me that. Benny's like,
we had a great chat, by the way. Benny's awesome. He's on the exact same page for understanding. He agreed with literally everything we talked about, and our intuition, and even talking to you about it, I can tell right away is exactly aligned because it makes so much sense. He's like, in my experience, video right away, a Facebook video, anything I can do to get a video over to them.
Yeah. So what Benny teaches guys to do is he basically teaches guys how to pick up women on Facebook, not Facebook dating, but Facebook proper. And he basically does it by doing video cold approaches. because you're able to show a woman like all of your, like what you look like,
Mhm.
you know, your facial expressions, your body language, all the stuff that you can't do on texting. And
Mhm.
so, what I did was I took what he taught me with that and I moved it to dating apps. And so I would, you know, get a conversation going with a woman, banter maybe 10, 15 messages, and then I would set a date and then I would say, give me your number. And then I would send her a video message to sort of, you know, keep her interest peaked so she knew who she was meeting out in the dating,
Mhm.
out in the real world.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's so powerful that guys have no idea. They're not even doing it. And so the fact that
No.
you have an app that's just geared towards that, I was just like this is
Yeah.
this will change the game for a lot of guys.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and I think the other piece to it, to be honest, is definitely this is what I'm seeing, especially when I'm talking to the dating coaches, is that a lot of men are struggling with, from a confidence perspective, at least the majority of them are struggling to be themselves in any capacity online because they're already extremely discouraged. And I'm like, listen, there's a huge opportunity here for you to like be yourself in video, and if you can get that confidence, it's going to translate to everything else you do, especially in person. So if you just get over that, and one of the things we're working on is, again, I like to work with dating coaches and bring them into the Heartstring ecosystem. So we have coaches in the app, but on top of that, providing that capability for people to actually, you know, tap into dating coaches to build confidence and show people how to make, you know, video content. So like one of the things we have in the app, right, is text prompts. So there's 20 plus text prompts, and they're just little starters, right? So it's on the camera. It'll say like, hey, one thing you should know about me, or biggest turn off, like just little prompts that you can pull up right away and go, hey, I'm going to respond to this one, right? And then on the flip side is the pitch your friend, where you could also do like pitch your friend with your friends right there with you, right? You'd be like, hey guys, pitch me, you know, and just have them pitch you right then and there, or you send out the link and they can do it when they want. But that's another way to just like bring into your profile a form of expressing who you are, right? Because your friends are really an expression, an extension of you in some ways, right? So
Yeah,
um
definitely. One thing I thought of when I first started looking at this was it does remind me a lot of TikTok. And I do know people that are using TikTok sort of as a dating app. But one thing
yeah,
that I would say that probably sets this apart is that it's specifically a dating app. Like
yeah.
you know that the other person on this app is typically their intention is to find a date too. So
Mhm.
you remove that barrier. Whereas when you're going online on any kind of social media, not just TikTok, you don't know if the person that you're hitting up in their DMs is really, you know, available for dating. Like, if, you know, you have no idea. You're
Yeah.
shooting your shot. They might, you know, they might have a, you know, person on the other side that you don't know about. But whereas a dating app, you typically know that that's what they're there for. They're there for dating. So it sort
Mhm.
of lessens that issue. Is that something that you thought of as well, or?
Yeah, I mean, people already use Instagram and slide into the DMs, right? That's a pretty common thing. And you know, again, take it or leave it. I'm not here to criticize how people operate in picking up people. Same with TikTok, right? I notice a lot of people are showcasing their Hinge profile, or there's hashtags boyfriend application, girlfriend application. That's fine, but the truth be told is that those social platforms will always remain social platforms, and people will keep their dating world discreet because there still is a whole host of other people, which is probably 90% of the population, that isn't a influencer, or you know, someone just making content, that wants to date and is like, hey, I'm literally looking for someone to you know, to meet. And so yeah, I'm not concerned at all. I think it's just another, I think it's actually, if anything, it's another channel to prop up the vision of Heartstring and showcase the importance of video in highlighting how powerful it can be. Because when I see those content creators posting video content like that, I'm like, that shows to me they're calling out for something more. When someone's videoing their Hinge profile and putting it on TikTok, whether or not their intentions are they actually want to meet someone and are taking applications, that's demonstrating to me people are breaking out of what's out there and it's not working. So they're really trying to find ways to be like, what is the new way to meet people? What is a way that I can have a better intentional dating experience? And I'm like, well, here's the way. So
Mhm.
that's it's great. I love when I see that kind of stuff because it just tells me that that's what people are asking for. And then when I go around and I talk with people every day, they're telling me the same message, right? So especially women, you know, women do it's really cool. Women love the video element because for them, it's a sense of getting that security and safety from out the gate. And for a lot of people right now, the big kind of discussions around online dating, especially in light of all the whatever apps that are out there now that won't be named, there's a lot of scammers, a lot of spammers, a lot of bullshit on those apps. And people already with video, you're eradicating a lot of the things that would appear in those other apps because you can't hide behind video. You know, people, if you're a scammer, if you're going to be on there, how are you going to hide behind 6 videos? And you can still question people, right? And be like, hey, did you use the in-app camera to get an authentic badge? So that means that, you know, you used the in-app camera, you didn't upload any videos. That's actually you in real time. Hey, did you get someone to pitch your friend? So there's all these little things that I'm trying to do to kind of stack on additional levels to de-risk this like fear that people have now because of spammers, because of weirdos, because of whatever, right? And we want to make it a safer and more intentional experience. So
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Because the biggest problem I ran into. I mean, for me, it wasn't that big of a problem because it's pretty easy to spot the scammers. It's pretty easy to spot the Instagram models that are just, you know, fishing for
yeah.
followers and stuff like that. So you get to the point, like I live out in cow country, right? Like I live out in the middle of nowhere. Like if a chick is, you know, dressed like a supermodel and all of her pictures are in Tahiti, I'm like, you do not live out here on the western slope of Colorado. That's not that you're fake, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I guess you make a good point. Like they can't really hide behind video. But I mean, like what other kind of precautions are you doing to keep scammers and Instagram models, you know, marketing people from abusing your app like that? Because that is frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's all levels and scales to this. I mean, we're a pretty small operation out this time, right? So I have eyes and I'm like waking up in the middle of the night looking at it, right? So there is a community reporting feature, which is kind of one of our main things, right? If you see content that violates our policy, right? You could take wild guesses of what obviously those would be. You can report that right there and the video will literally be removed. So that's like a huge piece for me just to help scale up the reporting from a community side of things out the gate. But you know, for now, I even had a scammer, I'm fairly certain, download the app when we first had the shittiest version of it out, and you could tell like they didn't know how to use the camera and they were just kind of like weird about it. And the cool part is once you remove the video, that person doesn't exist in the app anymore in the sense that there's no content, so you won't see them, right? And then I can go in and if there's other issues, I can remove them. But the point being is like they won't exist. So it's kind of cool that it gives an opportunity to be a little bit more for the people that are serious and interested in dating. You have to recognize that by creating video content, that's putting yourself out there and you're vulnerable, but you're going to get a good return from that because other people are in the same boat as you. So they're going to be like, okay, this makes sense. Here's my best shot. I'm going to shoot my shot, put my stuff out there, and other people are going to be doing the same. And the cool part is now when I'm testing, so we're testing, well, actually, no, wait, sorry, we're launched because this is after the launch. But when we're doing this testing, right, we're hearing from daters going, hey, I'm looking to other daters to see like, what are they putting in their content? So that's really interesting. And has that social element where people are going, hey, what are other people doing? That gives me ideas for what I can do. So it's really cool to see that happening in real time. So yeah, I'm not really worried about the scammers, the spammers, all those kinds of elements. And again, you deal with those problems as they come up. But I do think video already eradicates a lot of the people that would otherwise not be there for the right reasons, you know?
Yeah. I got another question that just popped in my head that I didn't have in my notes here, but I've had guys that have been like kicked off of places like Tinder and Hinge because like they had a bad date and like for whatever reason, like their date was sort of vindictive and reported them. And so they just got removed. How do you guys prevent against like false reporting?
That's an interesting problem. I definitely have heard that many times from a few people, both from women and men. And I've seen some TikTok trends of people talking about that and like making jokes about that. I think that's a problem to solve once we encounter that. I'm not really entirely going to walk through how we would mitigate that, right? Because real life is real life. People go on their dates. We're supporting the facilitation of a better dating experience. And of course, our values are have respect for daters, be intentional, be a little bit more authentic. So we're hoping that the people that come to Heartstring are going to be already on that page. But again, we can't account for all the behaviors that people enact. So I think there'll be some, I mean, people can always, currently the best way to get a hold of me if something happened in the app or they had an experience, we have a whole community guidelines page that people can go to and see all the resources we have listed out, as well as they can DM me anytime via the Instagram or email, and it's just me behind the scenes. So they're gonna get me, right? And so I think that case by case, I'll assess as we go, and we will put in infrastructure to support that as we scale. At this point, it's me right now. So I don't suspect. I mean, if I had already people going on dates, which there could have been, I think, like one or two. There are some people that were like, "Oh, I met this person on the app." I was like, "That's really cool." But if I had those people going on multiple dates, I would already be like, "This is amazing that people are actually meeting and going on dates right now," right? So yeah, the safeguards are get in touch with me, tell me about the experience, or check out our resources and community guidelines that have a bunch of resources there. Let's start there and then deal with problems as they come.
I think that's probably the most like frustrating thing with any kind of app, right? Like TikTok, for instance, like forget dating, like TikTok, where they have like a place where you can go and support or, email support or whatever, but like no one listens to you and no one actually helps you or anything. It's like, that's the most frustrating thing. So if you could at least have someone manning the ticketing system, like that would be next level.
The main thing I really want to highlight here that's extremely important for me, and demonstrates our values and commitment to this vision is that it's personal. Like I'm a real human that's building the dating app, and you will speak to a real human behind the scenes, right? And it's very important that people see that as this thing grows, they will always be able to reach out to the people behind this dating app. And that's part of our philosophy because how impersonal the current dating apps are, right? And not just these social apps that you talk about, but I mean, who even hears from the CEO of, any of the big three, again, that won't be named? Do you hear anything from them? Does any data on the ground even possibly know who they are, unless they're like, one of them's quote unquote kind of a celebrity? But it's just like, the point is like people aren't able to resonate. And I think that those companies, their values are out of alignment with the current dating culture. And so that's exactly why people feel it's completely impersonal. And so for me, I'm trying to show people there are real human faces making this thing, and those values are in the app. So anytime, that's the whole goal, is like making sure that people are always there to feel like there's a human, it's not siphoned off to some other part of the world for people to respond to a ticket. Like that's my goal basically, is to show the humanness behind it. So that's also part of the video piece, right? Like you should always be able to showcase. And that's why I try to really show in my videos and stuff, like, hey, this is behind the scenes of what it's like to build a dating app. Like it's way crazier than parenting. It's the craziest thing I've ever done. I can tell you that. So
is it why is it more crazier than parenting?
Because parenting, there's no real roadmap. Okay. Like parenting, I'm raising a 3-year-old son and he's amazing. It's the greatest journey I've ever had in my life. I'm so blessed. But it's like with that, it's like pretty clear. It's like, be a good person, feed your child, bring him to school, socialize, do sports, all those kinds of things. Right. And get on his level. But when you come to building a dating app, it's like the number of things you have to juggle, not only from like building an actual company, but in the dating space, it's such an intimate thing, right? It's like, this is love and relationships and sex and all of it. And there's a lot of factors balancing. And now you're creating an experience for people to meet and connect. And then you're juggling all these people that have different opinions about dating and trying to create awareness. And really what it comes down to is trying to get people to give a shit about a different type of dating experience when they're already so taxed out from everything else, right? And then compete against all the, influencers and the microseconds that someone has of attention to even care, like what's different about yours, blah, blah, blah. So it's great. And that's why it will be worth it. But it's just, it's way harder than like, for me, I make it as a joke, right? Like I'm being facetious, but it's like, it's very difficult and it's all worth it though.
Yeah. One thing I will say that I think is an advantage to you is that a lot of people are jaded by the current dating app market. They're always looking for something better. I haven't been on dating apps in a little over 2 years now. Cause I found a gal on a dating app
Nice.
And we've been dating for about 2 years now. And but man, and out here where I'm at, there's no cold approaching in the cow pasture. Like it's very hard to meet people organically out in town.
Mhm, mhm,
So like really dating apps was the only way I could meet people. But
mhm,
on each dating app, the selection was so few that I was always looking for another dating app so I could cast my net out a little bit wider.
mhm.
And then you'd find like a new dating app, like I know you don't want to name them, but like Hinge, for instance,
Sure, yeah.
was relatively new back in like 2019, 2020. There was like I met like maybe two people on there because no one had even heard of it out here. And like
Mhm.
we're so far out in the country that like we're usually a good 6 months to a year behind everyone else. so so getting on this new dating app,
Yeah,
there's no one on it,
yeah,
so that I think that's going to be an uphill battle for you. But at the same time, people
yeah,
are always looking for something new that's a better experience than what they're experiencing now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
That's a
this
great
is
point. I think part to the factor though of like, let's say perhaps the dating pool and where they reside geographically, like that problem may never be solved. It's just literally where people are distributed. But I do think that in in leveraging video, perhaps the people that you've casted the net across like all these different applications to use, you may find more matches based on the fact that you're seeing them in video versus in photos or text, right? And again, that's still my central thesis that I think, regardless of like maybe because I mean, when you had all those different apps that you were using, right? Even though you probably saw like 30 to 50 people in your area, or you're only seeing, you said you matched with two, but you probably saw a bunch of people in your area. It just wasn't like when I'm in the city when I see 10,000, right? But
yeah.
you're
Yeah,
seeing
yeah,
like,
it would be like maybe I might have two people I matched with on Tinder this week, maybe one on Bumble,
but you
maybe
saw, but in your area there were still people. It's
there was
just that,
people. Yeah.
yeah. And again, my thesis would be that like I think maybe if people were more, were able to leverage some video, it maybe there would have been potential for other possibilities beyond just
Oh,
the
sure.
photos, right? So yeah, I think that's always an uphill battle anyway, right? With any product and any vision is to, but the truth is, I don't think it's about the product. I think the features ground the app, the interesting things that we've done to make the app unique. But I think it's truly the values and the vision. I really think that that's what resonates because when I talk to daters, they're they appreciate what we're talking about, right?
Hmm.
When I'm saying like, listen, let's stop gamifying being like, hey, we can hack the algorithm on Tinder. Like, if that's where we've come to in order to arrive at matches, then we're fucked. So I'm like, and it's proven. It's proven by seeing all the discouraged men, by all the
Hmm.
tired women on these apps, and everyone else. So for me, that just demonstrates like, especially if you are using those kinds of mechanisms. I'm not saying everybody is, but it's a small example where you see people doing that, and then I'm like, you're still going to have to be yourself in person. You're still going to have
Hmm.
to show up, be confident. However your Riz game was when you chatted with that person
Yeah.
behind the text, you're gonna still have to be you. So, for me, it's like that's the type of messages that I think resonate with daters where they're like, listen, I'm looking for something that I can just literally see. Like literally it's just vibes. I know that sounds like it sounds like something that's not like
It's
what's
very
the
woo woo.
it
Yeah.
sounds woo woo, but the truth is it's not because your vibe is like your tone of voice, your body language, the way that you come across, your confidence, all those pieces are what I would just associate with your vibe and your. Some people would say energy, whatever you want to use, right?
Yeah. It's the
But
same thing. It's
yeah, and
semantic.
I just think it's just like that's what you can showcase really easily in 3 seconds or less.
Yeah. Another that reminds me too. One thing that I think would be beneficial with this app is that one of the most frustrating things that men specifically, but I mean women experience this too, but men specifically get so frustrated with the use of women doing the camera angles and the filters. It makes them
Mhm.
look like better. And then when you show up on person, or they're a totally different person, right? Or they use pictures from like 5 years ago.
Yep.
And it's like, this is not the person that I matched with online. It's
Mhm.
very frustrating for guys. I would say that video would help with that a lot. Please tell me that you guys don't have any kind of filters
We don't.
to make
So we
yourself
don't. There's no
look better.
filters. There's no. I mean, the truth is, you could upload. right? And I support this. I do support people uploading content from, Instagram or TikTok if they've created. I think that's cool. I want them to use the array of tools that are out there to be creative and fun. But no, there's no filters in the app to do anything other than there's just the text prompts, right? So already out the gate, definitely a video can, I think, give you, again, a bigger window in. But yeah, I feel that. I mean, that's one of the reasons too, right? A lot of people, the authentic badge is kind of there in a way as well to give that additional level of like, hey, it's real time in a sense, and maybe we will have like a timestamp. I think could be interesting at some point if people do use the in-app camera. That's essentially like an Instagram story, right? When you see like, hey, 23 hours ago this was posted, which I think is fun because you're always like, oh, cool, like that's what my friend was up to last night, right? And I think that gives people that like sense check of like they don't need to already go to the intuitive like, oh, is that really them? Like, do they really look like that? Like, and I think like doing away with some of those concerns out the gate can make for a better dating experience. So you can focus in on like, hey, getting to know this person, asking some questions, not being like, soaking into being nervous or being like having that second thought, right? So those are some levels that I think we can just tiny little things that perhaps make the experience better. Again, we'll hear from daters as they start to put in more content, as people start to match. But I do think supporting creatively, like again, filters and all those things, people are always going to use that stuff. I think it's interesting to see what people will do with video. I had a few people put in videos with like they use like the fire filter where they're like on fire, and I thought that's funny. I'm like, that's hilarious. Like, no one's gonna match with you in video if you just have that video, so it's your loss. But if you have that in a collection of videos of other things, it's kind of funny because you're screwing around and being comedic, but you're also showing other sides of you. So
is there a limit on the amount of videos you can upload for a profile? Like,
yeah, let's find out. I like to keep some things mysterious
okay.
because I think it's fun to get people in there and try stuff out and see how they react. So I don't always like to put. That's another thing. I'm not a fan of all these rules. A lot of new dating apps have all these rules and
like 6 pictures. That's it. Like,
no, I don't. I want to. Let's see what people do, and yeah. So I mean, for me, I was like, okay, I put 6. I'm like, again, I'm in there. I'm the founder, and I'm showing you guys what it's like.
Yeah.
If I want to put more, I will. But right now, I just think 6 is pretty sufficient. Like that's a lot of content already.
It's probably enough. Yeah. For a dating profile. Sure.
Yeah, I have two pitch your friends from my friend, and I have 4 videos. 2 of them are using text prompts. 2 are just ones I uploaded. So yeah, it's just like a little quick array. But the one thing too, to that point of rules, if I can I jump in and talk about rules for a second?
Yeah.
What I think is evil is in some apps, and I don't mean evil in a religious sense. I just think it preys off of the psychology of people, where it gives them like a carrot and a stick, and it just like takes it away. Right? Is when people, especially match on dating apps. I'm not going to name it, but you know which one I'm talking about. And they see a match, and then it disappears after 24 hours. And that person accepted your match, right? You like them, they like you. They're probably inundated with tons of people. They probably looked at your photo for half a second, and they're like, attractive. Like, I think it's like, I literally think it's one of the worst feelings. I myself have experienced that, where I'm like, I would love to just shoot my shot and say like, hey, like, I love your profile. I checked it out. Like, I genuinely want to like meet you. Let me send a video. Gone, disappeared. And I just think that is like, to get people to pay and to get people to go into an experience that does that, it proves to me that they don't give a shit about you. Like they don't.
Yeah.
And so it's like, why would you do that? And that's one of the things where I just think, these types of rules that we've created to like access the pool is actually part of the problem. So for me, Heartstring is free right now. You just access the dating pool, put up videos. No one's going to stop you. It's like in real life, right? You go and unless you go to like a club or a cafe, you're going to these different places and maybe you pay to access the venue. But the truth is you're still free to access anyone in the world as long as you shoot your shot, right? And they're receptive to you. So I'm just thinking that like we create all these rules to like make a more like paywalled experience for people, but that's actually less of what people want. They want to be like, hey, I want to meet someone and I want to get to real life with them. I want to in a really easy way. I don't want to have to like go through all these little hurdles, that make me go high and make me go low psychologically. And I think that's just like evil, like.
Yeah. I will say, I think I know which app you're talking about. I think the colors are yellow on that one. That's actually one of the things I hate about that particular app is one, I think like the concept seems nice. I think it was a little too woke, maybe a little too ahead of its time. You know, women sort of like the idea that they're supposed to start the conversation, but most of them have no idea how to even do it. And,
Mhm,
you know, they get inundated with matches like we've already talked about. So a lot of guys
mhm.
fall by the wayside. I've seen women online actually tell other women that on that particular app, um, if a guy doesn't pay to extend that time period, then he doesn't have enough interest in you. So you need to make sure that you don't respond for 24 hours. I was like, that is the dumbest idea ever because I'm not paying for that.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
You know, I will say though, because I mean, you eventually are probably going to want to make this app profitable and you probably already have plans for this. But I do tell guys that it's not a bad idea to pay for the premium version of some of these apps so that they can use the app more like women get to use it, right? Where you
I
could be
do
more passive, you
I
know?
do agree with you, and I think that's important in the sense that, it enables you to perhaps again, we don't fully know the extent of how the algorithm does what it does and how people are put in front of people, but it perhaps does play a factor in, yes, getting some more spotlight for you in front of people. I think that is important, and that's the best that we have now for, current dating app experiences, because a large part of the dating pool is on said app, with in red, right? We all
Mhm.
know which app that is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that that's fine because that's what's there. But at the same time, I'm still speaking about the largest psychological experience that most people encounter. And from the perspective of both men and women, back to our yellow submarine, is that on the man side, and I've paid for it before for not only my own market research, but when I was dating and didn't even have a thought about creating dating apps, right? And
Yeah.
again, um, from a lot of women I've spoken to from dating, they tell me the two things. One is that they are, again, overwhelmed with how many potential matches they have. So they can't even start. The dating experience is done when they open up the app. They're like, I'm finished. I'm so tired for this. And then at the same time, they also are having a hard time in initiating that conversation. And a lot of them do value, again, it's this is what I hear. It's not my words, that they do value when men are taking the lead in some cases. They're like, hey, because a lot of the messages, not only myself, but a lot of the messages that a lot of people receive is, hey, how are you? How are you? How's it going? How's your week? Some do tap into the profile, right, and are a little more specific, and that's great because that's obviously demonstrating that you have interest. But I do think people value being pursued in some capacity, and whether or not it's a woman pursuing a man or a man pursuing a woman, I think just the ability to do said pursuing is important. And I think the restrictive element where it forces one party or the other to pursue is the problem, because maybe some women would like to be like, whoa, that guy's very attractive, I would like to reach out to him. Or maybe some men would be like, hey, I'd love to reach out to that man or woman, or vice versa. It doesn't matter, right? So
Mhm.
for me, I think that that's part of the problem. And a lot of the apps that I'm seeing that come out that have disappeared because of market saturation and their value proposition isn't there, and they're literally not solving a problem. They have these like more rules or more ways to like, you know, or like you could see again some of the big ones. They have like, did you hear about the watching Netflix or something with a potential match?
Oh, I did hear about that. That's dumb. I'm not
It's
doing that.
that's what
I'm
I'm
not doing
saying,
that.
and
Yeah.
I did a little poll to ask people, and I said, like, "Is this important to you when you match with someone to do this?" And nobody gives a shit, and you know why? Because for you to consider that, like, we have to watch all the same show, it's probably such a small percentage of people, and nobody wants to sit in a dating app longer than they have to. They wanna go into a dating app, and they wanna be like, "I'd like to meet you in person now. Can we get to the date, please?" Like, that's they
Smart daters do that.
yeah,
The
they don't
bad
they don't
daters don't do
yeah,
that.
but again, bad or smart daters, like, I think part of the way the experience is created can facilitate the creation of people not having a good dating experience and probably not know how to perhaps have a better dating experience. And some of that comes back to what we mentioned at the beginning, which is like building confidence, right? Some people are not sure how to even do like engage because they're probably just like, man, like I can't even get a single match. Like I think you need to go on a lot of dates to also build up that confidence and be able to speak with different women and have different experiences, or vice versa, men. I think that's a really important piece to this. But some people probably can't even get to that stage, and that sucks because part of the experience is in a way is designed like that, right? I mean, look at when you come in, when you land in some of the big ones right out the gate, what are you seeing? You're seeing often some models, some influencers. You're seeing some people. I've seen multiple, and I've recorded some really nice videos to demonstrate this at some point in time. I've seen people that I've followed on TikTok and found that have been served up to me. And they're also on various dating apps, and they are not in the locations where they are saying. It's absolutely certain, because I've seen just like what you identified, and I've seen them, 30 kilometers from Ottawa. And I'm like, nope, I've definitely chatted with this exact person, and I have both their TikTok, which has since disappeared, but I have both. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why is there multiple people that I've seen literally like a year ago when I was on the dating app, or prior to that 6 months ago, and they're still on there, and they change, a couple photos are different, but they're still the same, and they're still the same ones that are served up to me when I land in there. And I'm not the only person that's seen it. There's a couple of internet people that have definitely commented on this, and they have said, like, I think, honestly, I even think Jordan Peterson had mentioned, like, he in a podcast, like, we know that some of the current dating apps sprinkle the landscape with decoys, and who knows? I don't know. Are people getting paid to go on there? Again, not a conspiracy theory. I'm just curious, like, because I've seen them firsthand multiple times, the same people, and I'm like, yes, maybe they are genuine people that are dating and they're on the app, but it's just too coincidental. And then when I saw some of the people on TikTok, and they had these like low-key TikToks, and then I see them the same, but it's like entirely different persona, and they're close to me. When this person said they lived in this city in the States, I'm like, excuse me? Like, what's happening here? So I just think that is one small, tiny layer of, again, not a criticism. I'm just putting it out there because I'm curious. I've seen it myself, and I've heard
if scammers can figure out a way to take advantage of something, they'll do it, right? So I do think like adding like real-time video and various sort of like verification things like that we've already talked about, that you guys are already doing. It's gonna be a totally better. It sounds like a better dating experience for sure. One thing I want to ask though.
Yeah.
So right now, it's only available for iPhone users, right?
I mean, the Android version, we're testing it right now. And
I was gonna say, why do you hate Android so much, man?
I don't hate Android. I don't hate Android. It's just painful. But no, I don't hate it. It's just where we're at. And no, it's available for Android and iOS. So yeah, we're good. It's, pending some bugs probably, but again, this is always going to happen.
Is it going to come out on launch day, or like...
Yes. We can only hope. Okay, we'll say we can only hope, as long as
let's hope
iOS...
by the time you're watching this, let's just hope it's in the Google Play Store for you. If not, just wait. It'll be...
Well, it's in there now. Like, literally, you could download this current version that I'm testing, which I sent to you, right? And but the truth is that there's a bug that prevents a whole bunch of things, so we'll just leave it at that for now.
Okay. So. Well, yeah. All new software has bugs, guys. So
but it's always that's the thing, right? The pain of, like, people don't realize, like, it's so painful just to get like get this thing where it needs to be, and it's great. It's just like, some people give me feedback and they're like, oh, this like little button needs to change. And I'm like, guys, like, when I have a whole team that I can hire to research like the user experience of that singular action, like, something really slick, because people expect that. And that's why the bar is so high sometimes to just get, especially with video. And I'm like, guys, like, I'm doing my best. So I try to like tell people, like, hey, like, one step at a time, like, you will have the slickest thing once I can get there, once I'm profitable,
Yeah. Well, I've been working in like technology for 18 years now, and that's one thing I get a kick out of when I talk to developers, is like they'll have like one bug, they go to fix the bug, and that one fix will cause 15 other bugs. So it's so frustrating, but that's just the name of the game when it comes to software development. One feature that I think is outstanding, because we talked about how women on the average dating apps that everyone's used to right now are just like inundated with matches. They have, 500 matches to a guy's 3. So they don't even know where to begin. But your app limits chats to 3 chats at a time. So you can't be chatting up like 20 people at a time on an app, which is great because I think that's where a lot of people fall into. That's where they fall by the wayside because the other person's got too many chats that they're trying to juggle.
Yeah, 100%. I think that it's a really interesting thing because after speaking with people, again, trying to solve the problem of like reducing kind of the noise and focusing in attention. Plus, I think just from an experience of trying to date, it's like how many people can you possibly chat with at any given time? So,
Is
yeah,
that a challenge? No, it's
I mean, it depends on who you are, right?
Yeah.
Again, we're broadly speaking here that's 3 conversations at most. You can match, it's mutual matching. So right now, if I like someone's content, they have to like me as well. Then they will be in my matches, and then I can consider, oh, should I put them in my conversation queue? So they would have to put me in their conversation queue as well for us to actually converse. And I think there's a couple interesting future steps to what that looks like as well, especially when you consider things like ghosting. I have some ways to tackle that as well. Not going to get into that, but that's a nice little thing where I think I have a nice roadmap to consider how we can facilitate, again, better intentional communication and ways to probably mitigate some of the shittier experiences that people are having in apps right now. So yeah,
Yeah,
3 chats.
ghosting's a big one. I'd be interested to know how you guys tackle that. But you said
That's something later.
that's
When
to be seen. Okay.
we'll do a second podcast when that feature comes out. But there's something really, I think, unique that can be developed here, and I'm excited about that. But I just want to see what resonates with people from a 3 conversation perspective to kind of slow it down and
Yeah.
give their brain a break when they're trying to date. I mean, it's already on one level, consumption of video is already going to be a lot, right? So watching a couple videos of daters like that's like a fast way to see many people, but it's taking in a lot. But once you have a few matches and stuff, then you could hone in and have a chat. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, right? So yeah, that's kind of that's the starting point. Is that's again the focus is aligning the intentional piece for people.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's like, and people also, I mean, obviously they can take that conversation offline at any point
sure,
too. So it's
yeah.
not like a total limitation, but I like the idea of it though, because it does, at least on the app,
Mhm.
try to keep things a little more intentional on both sides.
Yeah, and I think by the time you get to a match and you're conversing a little bit, at that point, because you can send videos back and forth and stuff. At that point, if you're already there and you had a good vibe with someone, it's not going to be long after that people will probably be going on, on a date or whatnot. So or taking it offline. So, and I think for me the kind of runway to this is like we don't just want to be a matching engine or facilitating matches, right? Or just supporting dating. We want to be able to support healthier relationships. And that involves a whole other piece of this, right? Which we didn't mention yet, which was the discover screen in the app. So that's has a bunch of content, from dating coaches, podcasters. And for me, I think there's a whole huge opportunity here to build into the dating experience, not only like awareness and exposure to interesting content from creators, important subject matters, right? Like taboo stuff that nobody, people have a hard time talking about these days, but you find it all over Instagram and TikTok, right? Like sex and all those other things. I think that's important in the dating experience, but also the relationship piece, longer term. So for me, I think there's a whole other part to this that we're interested in building out, which is supporting better, healthier relationships, not just a dating experience, and better experiences in person, right? Like, building up partnerships with brands, brick and mortar brands to facilitate better dates too. I think that's a really important piece too, getting to those dates. Right. And so that's something I have in the back of my mind as I continue to build this out and get traction and explore the opportunities for experiences that aren't just an online experience, but in person. So
one thing would be a cool feature. I've seen something similar to this on other apps, but there's on certain apps they have things where like they have like local meetups, but I think it's like the app organizing it. So you have to be in a big city to get in on that. But what would be great would be if someone on the app could organize a local singles meetup and then push that out there so that people
brings it to a really interesting part, which we actually just launched Pitch Your Friend, not the feature, but the in-person experience. So I didn't send you that website, but I'll send it to you. It's just pitchyourfriend.com. And basically what that is It's a singles event that matchmakers can host. So we're working with matchmakers across the country. A lot of them has expressed interest to say like, hey, we want to create new experiences for our client base. And restaurants, bars, cafes, they're also interested because they're like, hey, we want to bring in new experiences as well. And so what it is essentially kind of a twist on speed dating. So it's a double date in 5 minutes or less. You and I would sit down across from, in this case, two women. And I would pitch you in 1 minute or less. You'd pitch me in 1 minute, then we'd go to the other side, and then we would switch and move to the next thing. So that's one format of it, which again gives that in-person sense. I have my friend with me. We're pitching each other. Quick little, double date. And then the other version is actually a more comedic one, and I'm stoked about this one, is that people show up to the venue, and you can either come up or stay in your seats, and you pitch your friend to the audience, like the entire audience. And there's pitch prompts that any audience member can ask. So all those text prompts in Heartstring, we call them pitch prompts, and they can ask in front of everyone. And some of them are edgy, right? They're like, what's your biggest turn on? Or like, that kind of stuff. And it gives a chance just to, again, make dating fun and comedic. So those are two events that we are launching. We have launched, and we are just kind of scaling those up now. And again, if daters are not interested in the dating app, then they can come to our in-person events where, so I'm creating that two-way channel to support experiences at cool kind of venues and bars and places that are interested in that as well. So
yeah, this is fascinating, man. This really is. Yeah, keep me posted on all this stuff. We're almost at an hour here. Let's go ahead and wrap this up, man. Where can people find the app, and where should they reach out if they have more questions?
Yeah, so heartstringapp.com is the website. If for some reason the app's not live by then, jump on the wait list, but it will be. So go to, the App Store, just search Heartstring. There's another app in there, Who Cares, social messaging. That's not Heartstring. Download Heartstring Dating. And then in Google Play, same thing, Heartstring. And the best place to reach me these days is definitely Instagram. I'm always quick to, why I love Instagram? Because I can send a video message, and I send pretty much a video message to every single person that messaged me, anyone that follows me, saying, thanks for the follow. And anyone has questions, I post updates on the app all the time on there. So that would be the best place. But yeah, and then check out pitchyourfriend.com, obviously, for in-person events. And use this hashtag, of course, if you're using Heartstring, pitch your friend, right? So my whole goal and the vision is I just see all these people pitching their friends, and I could just imagine what a wicked montage of like people pitching friends looks like and how fun it is. And I mean, you can see some examples on my Instagram of like a montage I put together of videos of people pitching them. And I just think that's so like, it's amazing. So for me, that's what I'm stoked to see, is just once we start getting that content of people pitching people, like sharing that with the world, because it's inherently a positive message. So
they can post like a hashtag pitch your friend on Instagram Reels or TikTok, and then turn around and upload it to the app.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what pitch your friend is the hill that I'm going to die on, because pitch your friend is, it's very unique, and I want people feel that vision, that's why I'm repping it. So yeah.
No, that's actually a great idea. Cause that's one thing that we talk about a lot in the dating coach space, is the idea of social proof. And so you're having friends to like basically vouch for how cool you are is huge. It's so huge.
It's the number one, man. And I see it, and we're going to make it happen. So yeah, honestly, I'm really stoked that I got to chat with you today. We got to make it happen again at some point. Once I get to the ghosting feature and that launches, let's do it a round 2, because I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah, let's definitely do that. All right, man. Well, thanks for joining me today. This has been awesome. I think people are going to be super excited. I will put links to all these in the description. So guys, if you're watching this, it's the app's out by the time this episode drops. The app's already out. Get it. Go get some, do some intentional dating on this.
Yeah. Make some videos, get out there.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much, man. I'll give you your day back.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
LMP, thanks again for joining me today, man. You're welcome back anytime. Fascinating conversation. I really hope that the launch of Heartstring went really well for you. I haven't followed up to see how that went. I'm off the dating app, so I haven't had a chance to download it and play with it. But one thing, guys, that LMP told me is that he's going to have a feature for date coaches and dating experts. And so if you guys sign up for the app, you might see my content show up on the app, tips and tricks when it comes to dating. The women are going to hate it because I'm going to give you guys like all sorts of game tips that they're going to be like, wait a second, why are these guys playing games? But they're going to respond very well to the stuff that I put out. So anyways, I highly invite you guys to check out that app. And again, LMP, hope to have you back on the podcast again. Your insight into the dating app scene is actually pretty fascinating, especially since you run your own dating app now. All right, guys, let's do some housekeeping here. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. If you haven't done so yet, drop a comment. Any comment will do. Just, you can even say, hey, Paul, I made it to the end of the episode or something like that in the comments. Just that helps us out in the algorithms. And again, if you are listening on your favorite audio platform of choice, give us a 5-star review and actually write out why you like the show. And if you do that on Apple Podcasts, I will read in an upcoming show. I'll read your review. Be sure to follow me on social media. The links are all down in the description. Get on the Patreon, patreon.com/comeonmanpod. You can join for as little as $10 and you'll get on the beer credits at the end of these episodes. And then, if you need help with dating apps, with just getting your confidence up, if you want to know more about body language and you just need someone to talk to about that, all that stuff's available with the coaching programs available in tiers 2 or tiers 3. So check that out. Patreon.com/comeonmanpod if you want some help. Let's see here. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. I'll send you some stickers. And then again, you guys, if you are having trouble trying to attract the women that you really want, right? Like the traditional women, the really good women, the real submissive women that will follow your lead, get the Practical Law of Attraction course, because that will show you how to change your mindset and get so hyper focused on the girls that are out there that fit those descriptions that you'll start seeing them everywhere. And like I said, it's not magic. It's not that those women weren't there before. It's that you're just not aware of them because you're focused on the wrong thing. A lot of guys are focused on what they don't want. And what your mind doesn't know any different, right? It doesn't know if you're thinking about what you don't want or what you do want. It just hears the thing that you're thinking about the most, and then you're hyper focused on it. Okay. This will show you how to reprogram that so you start getting the things that you want more out of life. It also works for your finances, your health, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of you guys are here for dating advice, so you can use that for women too. All right. Check it out. LOA.comeonmanpod.com. The link's in the description for that. And that's all I have for this week, guys. Be sure to tune in for the live stream on Wednesday. We'll catch you later.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. New full episodes served hot every Monday morning on your favorite podcast platform of choice. So subscribe now. Follow Paul on social media. The links are in the description. Now, go out and get it.